Since everyone is back for the best session of the day, do you all agree? Thank you, thank you. So we're going to rile you up a little bit more, energize you. So I'm going to request our organizing team to play something for you, but I'm going to request you to stand up, please. May I? Thank you. Can I invite everyone to stand up? Okay, music. Can we hype it up a little bit? I think they're going to sit back again. Upbeat music, please. Upbeat. Coming. Okay. Freestyle. Make all the moves you want. Any move you like, even if you don't know how to dance. It's okay. It's safe here. Good. We've seen such a big room dancing together. Okay, I can see someone over there. You're the best dancer for the day, guys. Clap. Okay, thank you very much for that cooperation and support. So we've got 20 minutes. We want to keep you highly energized through the session. So I'm going to invite the organizers to put up a slide. So together with me today, Dr. Prasanth, TVS, and Mr. Prasad from Zing HR, founder. We're trying to share with you what a moonshot looks like. By the way, what's a moonshot? Sorry? A shot so far away we cannot see, right? Moonshot. In reality, if you can eloquently put it, it's something like a lofty goal, a big, hairy, audacious goal that all of us are looking to and to see whether we can achieve, right? And I know I want to be as practical as possible. I know HR folks are very practical. Please come back to earth is what you're telling me. So we'll try to do that today and share with you 7 themes. Just 7 themes. No slides today, but only one slide, as in no presentation today. One slide with 7 themes. All right? And then we're going to ask questions. We're going to ask them one question, and I'm going to ask you to ask us one question. Is that fair? Do we agree? I thought we had an upbeat group here, guys. Yeah, okay, good. Let's do it. Can we have the slides up? Okay, looks like it's still coming up. So in the meanwhile, what are the 7 areas I just wanted to share with you? One is based on what has happened in the last 2 years, right? They say innovation follows disruption. Everyone has gone through different forms of it, and so has HR. But would you agree HR has gone through the most disruption during the last 2 years? From a functional perspective, from a people perspective, right? Okay, good. Now, how much of it has been strongly connected with the business? Are you partnering the business or are you driving the business with them? Instead of co-piloting, are you working with them hand in hand, right? Second is what I would call a scarcity, right? So first is in terms of reinvention. Second is in terms of scarcity. So what does it mean? Is the big tsunami true? Is it true? The big resignation? Is it happening? Is anyone here telling me nobody's leaving your company? Okay, got it. So, but has it increased after the pandemic? At what rate? And what are we doing about it? Right? Okay, vitality, number 3. Would you agree there has been a lot more burnout, a lot more stress working from home? I mean, initially it was fun, but later on, the stress accumulates, equal number of stress, yeah. Then comes sustainability, ESG, environment, social, and governance. I sound so serious, huh? So I did ask Dave Ulrich this afternoon whether it's a responsibility, whether it should be owned by HR. And he said, I don't have the answer. All right? So we'll be discussing that as well. Individual, there's more individual personalization. Would you agree? Everyone wants, apart from the selfie you take, right? You're going to be more individualized in the need, and HR needs to appreciate as an organization perspective, yeah? Inclusivity, me versus or us, is becoming more stronger. I'm not saying it's not there. Lip service becomes more action. And accountability. I'm going to relate it to agility as well, as part of how it is done. So with that, I'm going to invite Dr. Prasanth to share his views. He's controversial, by the way. All right? With that, Dr. Prasanth.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to this interesting time that they have given us. And thank you, Anthony, for your asking me to speak on this session. I've heard a lot about future of work. Right? The question I'll ask is, does work itself have a future? Okay. I'm going to go 2 years back. I think the biggest story for me 2 years back is not the COVID. The biggest story for me is the vaccine, the way it was developed. During the Spanish flu, the world suffered 10 years before it came back to normal. And here we have, in about 2 years' time, we are almost back to normal. How did this happen? It happened because of vaccines. It got developed in a lab. It got scaled up, designed in some organization. It got manufactured in a different country and got shipped out to all the countries in the world. In a space of 2 years, we are almost out of COVID. This is not work by its normal definition. And that's what I say, the future of work means the work itself does, in the way we know work, has got no future. The work is going to be about value addition, irrespective of time and place where it's added. The work needs to be defined as value addition. There is no concept of employee. You must have heard of a gig. All of you would have heard about gig employees, right? I go a step further and say that any person, be a customer, can actually add value in this entire value chain process. So your employee of tomorrow is not the employee, it's a partner. Organization in its current form of hierarchy, functions, will disappear. It will be cluster and networks that will be dominating the organization front. And work, as I define it, it will be about hobbies, interest, and passion. So the work, as I see it, as we see it today, it will not have a future. But what will be in the future will be isolated, disaggregated employees in a living, working on their own, focusing on their hobbies, interest, and passion. That is the new work that is going to dominate the world. The question is, are organizations prepared for it? And my challenge is, many organizations, I work in a private equity firm, I see a lot of organizations focusing on today's problem using yesterday's technology and processes. They're so much caught up with the policies and processes front that they're losing track of what's the future going to be. Okay, I can elaborate on it, but in interest of time, I will talk about 5 trends that I see in the world. 1, hyper-personalization. Number 2, what I call ubiquitous computing. The computing is going to take place everywhere. Each of you, each of us have a score. LinkedIn and Google has a score for each one of us. The computing is not going to take place in phases, it's going to take place every time. The third, bandwidth for any organization to be at the top is just 3 to 5 years. And the fourth, every company will be a platform. And the fifth, should I say, there is no talent shortage. People talk about talent shortage, I disagree. There is a shortage of looking at talent in a different way. So these are my 5 things. The organization for future will be what I call NICE. NICE stands for networked, integrated, collaborative, and always on an experiment mode. This is the organization for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasanth, on giving a perspective on how you see the future, how you see HR, how you see the future of work related to how the evolution is taking place, and how it's closely knitted with technology and personalization.
Absolutely.
So with that, let me take this opportunity now to invite Mr. Prasad to give his views on the future of HR.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you for this, Anthony. Again, any controversial thing. How many of you believe, I think most of you are from HR, how many of you believe that you are a HR business partner? HR business partner? Are you happy with it? If I tell you, again, something controversial, what is the role of HR? I think the role of HR HR will be a trait in each manager, each department, and no longer, my prediction is in the next 3 to 5 years, there will be no department called HR. Don't get worried, our role is not going up. So HR will now work on technologies, talk of machine learnings, and move from a business partner role to a business driver. Tell me, how many of you want to say, sit at the board and say, I can improve the EBITDA margins of the company or the top line? Would you want to do that? Yes or no? And that is, my friends, COVID has thrown us that opportunity to put HR professionals in the center stage and use a lot of business thought process, disruptive thinking, and what I call, there is a framework called purpose versus means. I've seen a lot of HR people wanting to use technology without understanding what the purpose is. So what will happen is, today HR people are more oriented to sitting at the board and saying, can I improve your top line? Can I improve productivity? Can I talk of ESG? And that is what the role of HR today is going to be. And for that, my friends, we have to just look at the whole technology in a different way. Don't blindly use it. We are a technology provider, but we are saying don't blindly use technology. Use for a purpose which the organization is going to tell you and reward you for that.
Thank you, Prasad. A round of applause for him, guys. HR is always fair, you know. All right, so again, for me to be fair, I said I'll ask them the question and I want you to ask us a question. Is that fair? All right, good. Who's up? How do you have a mic or something for questions? Okay, good, thank you. You've got the first question coming up. Give us some encouragement, guys.
Introduce.
Thank you. HR has to ask for everything, you know.
Introduce yourself.
Please.
Hi, my name is Lavan.
We lost.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. My name is Lavanya Lakshmanan. I'm the Director for Global Compensation for Kyndryl, which is the infrastructure spin-off of IBM. Interesting thoughts. I think I took down notes of the trends you're talking about, future of HR, future of work. One of the things that struck me is this, there's going to be no talent shortage, right? I mean, that's a very interesting observation. We see that now, but there is a hesitance to act. One biggest pool that we oftentimes ignore is the aged workforce, the veterans, the people who have retired, so-called. Luckily, we're in a country called Singapore where age is no bar. But globally, if you look at how the workforce absorbs people who are aged, there is still a lot of hesitance to deploy. In fact, in my own organization, we have this flexibility to be able to hire contractors. And I have a lady in my team who is, I don't want to disclose her age, but very senior, but she has the most amount of energy, and I don't need to worry about keeping her engaged like I do about the rest of the workforce. Absolutely. So I'd be keen to hear your thoughts on what is our industry, our group, our HR fraternity doing about embracing a more aged and veteran workforce?
Can you put the mic?
Test. So your question basically is about inclusivity, right? How are we addressing the aging workforce? Is HR generally looking at that as an inclusive strategy as you are hiring people, right? Okay. Can we open to the panelists the response?
You want to take? Okay. I couldn't get a name, but I think you. Lavanya. Good. Lavanya, you've raising a very interesting issue, and I'll actually go a step back. Our mindset is that the biological age, the career life cycle, and our needs, our human needs were aligned. Okay? And what was that? Age 5 to age 20 you study. You specialize from 20 to 25, you get into a job, then you grow your saving. 50 to 60, you plan for retirement, you retire, your kids grow up. That's the biological age, career age, and needs age are met. Today what has happened is, there is a huge aspiration in the younger generation. Okay, let me give this example of a company called, I don't want to name the company, but this is a unicorn in India, and the CEO is 18 years old. That's on one side of the spectra. The other side of the spectra, because of advances in biology and science, the longevity of life has gone up. Okay? So you have the spectrum which is say 15 to 75 and 80 who are ready to work. And that's the reason why I said there is no talent shortage. What needs to change is the specs by which we look at it. In India, there are a lot of organizations, in US there are a lot of organizations which are employing veterans from the armed forces. It's a huge catchment of talented people, disciplined in work, who are ready to be employed. And the same applies to people who are above a certain age. I completely agree with it, and I can share a lot of practices that are there in different countries to tap these resources. I hope I answered it.
Just want to add there, I think job of HR is to align aspirations of people with the organizations. And that's why I'm saying don't use the age or the gender or the nationality for that. Our job in HR is to say, how can I align the organization's aspirations with the individuals? So age will not happen.
We are just rotating our mics, yeah? Not the jobs. All right, so, promise is a promise, right? 2 questions to them, 2 questions to you, right? You only ask 1 question. Can I have the delegates ask 1 more question? Okay, there's 1 more coming up. Good, thank you. Coming from this side, huh? I hope it's next question is going to come from this side. Okay,
right
go
next
ahead.
to her, actually. Good afternoon. My name is Pallavi. I'm the Senior Director HR for Johnson Controls. So my question is, I think when we talk about future of work or future of HR or any future right now, we are talking a lot in terms of technologies like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and all of that that's coming. And going forward, in the era where a lot of talent decisions or people decisions, even in this hall that we saw, they're all AI-enabled talent offerings being, put on it's a buffet out there. Not everything is fully matured to be able to take that. So how do you think HR's role is going to morph to be able to leverage the kind of talent decisions that machines are going to tell us to do? And the second part of the question is, while we try to harness the capabilities of these technologies, what do you think are some of the pitfalls that HR can actually help to address in talent decision making? I'll just give the context to that question. When we have something too much recommended, just like Netflix, we stop asking questions. There is informational complacency. So how do you think that's going to morph in the future, and what is the role of HR in trying to help with that?
Prasad, you want to take it?
He's the best person to take it. He's the best person.
Like I said, we get enamored by technology. Either we believe or don't believe. I think we have got a framework called the purpose versus means. If you find out the purpose of what talent you want to do and use technology selectively, don't become a slave of the technology. Don't blindly say, I want to use an AI model for interviewing. I want to use a chatbot for doing that. And that is what we lose. And I think machine is one thing, you have to keep on training it. And who will train of changing is us. So we'll have to engage with machines, keep on training it, keep on changing it. If it doesn't work, you have to change it. But don't become either blindly believe on technology saying I'll use AIML, or don't say I don't believe it. I think those are tools, and we can talk offline. We have got a methodology called deciding the purpose and what technology we use. I think it will work in the long way. Happy to talk offline on this. We're just studying our thing. Yeah. Well, if you want to conclude, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so we had a fair chance on both sides, 2 questions each. So it's time to wrap. Just from the moonshot perspective where we started, there will always be big, hairy, audacious goals, not only for the business, but we are in an equitable position for HR as well, to look at the future. Everyone has got a fair chance to take this shot, right? So I'm just going to give a quick final statement from each one of them so that we can wrap up. Quick one statement to wrap up.
Sure. I have a question for the audience. How many of you are employees? How many work for your hobby and interest? So think about this. You want to be an employee, or you want to work for your hobby or interest or passion? And therein lies the ultimate secret about what you want to do in life. Okay. And the only way organizations can survive the future, the present and the future, is be prepared to fail. Aim for failure. Because in that failure, how you come out of the failure, lies your success mantra. Thank you. God bless.
I just want to conclude by saying future of HR. I think the golden opportunity for future to be board members. All that we do is 2 things. Learn finance and learn technology. I'm not talking of sales and marketing, but learn finance and technology. Find out the purpose of what the organization is. You will be sitting the part of the boardroom. Thank you.
All right, so with that, a round of applause to our panelists, and thank you very much for your support and cooperating with us. I hope you had a good session.